What is up, guys? We're gonna go ahead and jump right on into this today. Change my little screen right here. And hop into a replay. So, my name is MrLlama. As I'm sure you know if you are sitting at the MrLlamaSC Twitch.tv channel, of course, where I do stream all of these videos live, I suppose you could say. All of the Making Improvements stick live. And today it's going to be Plat Tuesdays, so get excited. And yes, I know it's a little late. I had a nap to take, and it was a very extensive nap. Very extensive. More extensive than it was supposed to be, so that's why I'm a little bit later today. So we just kind of roll with it. We're going to keep going here, and first off we are going to follow Creamy Turtle. That's a delicious sounding name, isn't it? And he's going to be the blue Terran playing against the red Protoss. So already starting the trash talk just a couple of seconds in right there. And Creamy Turtle, as I said, is a platinum player. We're going to kind of have a mixture of plat players here today. I believe the next game is actually going to be a gold player, because yesterday I accidentally mixed up a platinum player into the gold day, and I mean we still ended up having good things to think about, but I mean, it still worked out just fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and do one of the people that was actually a gold player and submit a gold replay. Then, since I kind of feel bad for skipping them, so we're gonna have one gold thrown in there, and then we're going to have another platinum after that. So, things to note: already good on getting the dude out over there, sending the SCV to build that supply depot right off of the command center. Right there, Creamy Turtle, they could have tightened that timing up a little bit. You had about 45-50 minerals. That's a small thing, though. And so I'll kind of go over and review what we did have for the others. So at Bronze Silver Sunday, we went over very basic things such as workers. A lot of it was just like, and it was very basic goals. It was like making sure your workers are continually pumping out. We said, like, no scouting. Don't worry about teching up too much. Don't worry about gas timings. Simply make sure that you are always making something, because that's always been a huge thing. And did he actually scout it to see if there was even a gas there? Yes, he did. So we see a little Nexus first right there. But regardless, yeah, so make sure you're just always making things. And then in gold, we started to worry about some gas timings right there. So we'd see, hey, when I take four extractors as Zerg and don't do a single thing with them for, whatever, I don't have a layer going down or anything like that, I start stockpiling gas, and that's not going to get me anywhere, really. So, Creamy Turtle here. Gonna go ahead and go for some sort of 2 racks, it looks like. Though I'm not sure if this is an optimal 2 racks right here. So, I'll be interested to see how this works. Something I will say for Platinum League is I think I'm going to add basic scouting. So, like Creamy Turtle was doing, just basically checking in every now and then to see what your opponent does have. I think at this point, you should be able to do that. You should already have the skill set mostly to constantly be making SCVs, staying unsupply blocked, as you can see right there, throwing down another supply depot. You kind of have those general skills. This is going to now be focusing a little bit more on how you tech and how you push off that tech. So right here, I think this barracks was a little bit later than it could have been. I want to say you could have started that barracks a little bit earlier than you actually did. That's just my assumption. Or from my knowledge, I believe you could have made that a little bit sooner. So now that you have Marauder, okay, you're pushing out, you're going to go do some pressure, your opponent's doing an expand. Something that to think about is right now, you could be dropping an expansion here. Right, we're at 400 minerals. And you're queuing up some Marines, okay, but you could totally have had, and they're throwing down more these. But behind a 2-racks push like this, unless you're going to go for an all-in where you're like pulling SCVs, blah, 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 generally you'll want to take an expansion. That's just kind of how the game, how this what 2-racks kind of does for you. So, because if this doesn't work right here, if this push doesn't work, well, now you're behind because your opponent has this base up. He has his main base right here, and I mean, the best off, you get in there, you kill off that Nexus, and then you force him up to his ramp, and he force fields and stuff like that. Maybe you kill a few probes, and it looks like he's going to be completely unprepared for this, actually. So that works out nicely. But he doesn't have a sentry there to deal with it. So he has to pull probes, yeah. And I like the little unit micro there. Totally fine. And he should worry about focusing down the Marauder. So as a Protoss player, focus down the Marauder here because they do have concussive shells. So, as you can see, this isn't putting you in a lead right here. Right, so he's gonna kill off these Marauders. He had a little bit of mismicro, my bad. Mismicroed the camera. You're going to lose those Marauders, that's not what you want, and Immortal's out now. And all of the sudden, pause really quickly, what do we see back home? We have 1,000 minerals back home. We have no tech, we're just getting this stim right here. We don't have additional barracks going down, we don't have that CC going down, and now we are behind in this matchup. And I want to open this to everyone. He has more production facilities, gateways. He has more tech. He has a robotics facility. He has a natural already down and mining, which means he can just start pumping out probes, and we are behind. The point of a 2-racks is not to win the game. And I know you've won games off of those 2-racks. You push over here and your opponent's got absolutely nothing. You come in there, you kill all those probes, you kill those units, you push up, and you can kill off a lot of stuff, sure, you know, and maybe miss micros a little bit. He's going for whatever it is. I don't even know. He's trying to go like DTs off of it, and so you can just snipe him down and kill him, and you're like, man, that's how you win the game right there. It's just having to have that strong 2-racks. No, at this point, this is where we start learning about the various important parts of StarCraft, such as expanding behind a 2-racks. And now you're throwing down bunkers right here to try and be like super safe because you're afraid. If you're afraid and he's on 2 base, and that is exactly what I was hoping you would say, so I could sit there and criticize it. That is exactly what not to say. First off, perfect response from him. 3-gate robo. He saw, I mean, I would assume he imagined, even if he didn't see it, this is the perfect way to respond to that. You throw down those additional 2 gates, you throw down that, and you can actually hold off a one gate expand. So, I mean, this is nothing out of the norm right here that he held this, and now you are behind. You have to fill up bunkers in your main. When you could actually fill them down there if you wanted, but you're just running scared right here, and you have to throw all this additional tech. And this comes down to, one, you thought that was a game-ending blow. If you want it to be a game-ending blow, guess what? You would have pulled all of that right there, minus the mule. You would have pulled like 16 SCVs to charge over with that army. So you would have like 7 Marines, 2 Marauders, and then of course whatever was trailing behind, and 17 SCVs, because you saw you had 1,000 minerals banked up right there. And 1,000 minerals banked up means you either had a ton more SCVs than necessary, back home mining, which could have gone for the all-in if that was your plan, or you weren't doing a 2 racks right because you weren't expanding off of it. I mean, the point of that 2 racks is, one, you get the early pressure. Maybe you snipe this Nexus. Maybe you snipe some probes like you did. Maybe you can kill units. You know what? If it ends the game, great. But you don't plan on ending the game 9 out of 10 times with that. You come over here. I'm saying once you get a little higher, don't plan on ending the game. But by putting that pressure on, all of a sudden, when I said boom, expansion, that's when your expansion should be going down. You push out, and then you drop that expansion. So you know what? You get over there, and you kill off all those probes. It was 28 probes of his to 27 SCVs of yours, and he finally came down and was able to start killing the units and holding you back. Well, all of a sudden, you get back home. You have an expansion up of your own. It's a blah blah. That's okay. You get back. You have an expansion of your own, and now all of a sudden the game's back to even terms. Yeah, he got his expansion up first, but hey, you killed off 10 workers, you know? That's a great kill. That's exactly what you wanted to do. You get over there, you kill off 10 workers, and then you come back home, and you have this. You probably have a couple more barracks thrown down, because hey, 1,000 minerals, where are you going to spend that? You're going to spend it on the 400 right here, then you're going to drop probably 200 more on additional racks with tech labs, getting your stim upgrade, getting your combat shields upgrade, and all of a sudden you don't have all those extra resources right there. Instead, you have no extra resources. You have an expansion down, you have more tech, or more production facilities and more tech, and now the game's a lot more on equal footing. So that right there is going to be your goal number 1, and I want you to start doing this whenever you are in the situation of doing a 2 racks. And guess what? As a Terran player, you can 2 racks every single game if you want against, let's see, you could do 2 racks in TVP, you could probably 2 racks in TVZ if you wanted to, and TVT, you could, but I wouldn't do it as much in TVT. You could though if you wanted to. Right, but regardless, what is the point? The point is to get this down. So I want you to immediately, when you're making these barracks or making those units, and you get that little Marauder and Marine army right there, and as soon as you send that ball out, you'll have about 400 minerals, as you saw you did. Throw down the expansion. And that's going to be it. I like right here the faster third. You know what, he's taking his third as well, but I like that you took that fast because you can. You're Terran, you can put that in your base. So that's good. And I like the reaction to the Colossus. I'm not sure you saw them, but you reacted to them anyways. So maybe that was a little blind reaction, but that's good. I want you to be a little more proactive in seeing what his army is. So this is at the point where we're basically scouting his army, right? This isn't where I want you to do extensive scouting where you like see where all of his pylons are and see his Templar tech immediately and see he's getting double upgrades and all this stuff. I just want you to have an idea of what his army is like. And you haven't checked up on that in a while. And I mean, you're making these Vikings. I don't think you dropped a scan right there. I don't think so. Maybe you did.
Mineral field depleted.
Not sure. It's so hard with Terran to keep up with all their scans. But we're going to assume you did not right here. Now you see his army with those Marines. So I like the little scout of the Marines there. But I feel like you could still, even more so, be a little more proactive in scouting what he has to react to it. So, you know, like I said, I feel like these Vikings were kind of blind. Third base is up, and I think that took a little bit to do something. Quick, smaller note, morph it into an orbital first in your base. Oh, you're making a PF with that? Interesting. I don't know if I would make this a PF. I feel like with the map control that you have, notice all this map control, you have your army out here, decent position, yada yada yada. I feel like making this a PF is unnecessary. I think you could have made that into an orbital, which would have got you slightly back into the game a little more. I would also like to note, we are sitting on 3 bases, we have 4 barracks and a starport. So that's not many production facilities here. In and out. Good, good, good. Uh-oh, uh-oh. That's a decent engagement point for you. You got... Ooh, ooh, ooh. That hurt a lot. Micro right there was brutal. Now you're gonna have to start kiting. This is where you're gonna have to start having some kiting, right? So you're just running. You're just straight up running. You could have picked off like 8 to 10 zealots right there if you would have just kite your units back. Also, something to note, you saw that he didn't have many stalkers. You cut off a lot of his stalkers. He has 4 stalkers. Send your Vikings out. You have 8 Vikings. Just send them straight here and pick off all of these Colossus right now. He is not going to be able to pick off 8 Vikings in the time that you can pick off his Colossus, and that's going to put him in a very difficult situation. Alright, so he's going to move up. He's going to engage into this, get a repair, and a little late on the repair, so I'm not going to save that. And that's pretty much going to be game right there. Sitting in the storms. Okay, so we are going to give you goals right here. And, wow. Numero uno on your goals list. We'll pause, GG. Number 1 on your goals list. And we're going to take this back. This is going to go way back to what we've been going the whole time on. Look at the worker count. Workers killed, 40. Workers remaining, 11. That means you made 51 workers the entire game. It's 11:30. I can have 51 workers out as a Terran player, straight up, by 10 minutes. So that leaves a lot of room of not making SCVs. And especially when you're on 3 base, 51 SCVs is not going to cut it. Notice him. He's at 63 probes minus the 15 that he already lost. Or add this to that. So he's made 78 probes. And even he could be producing a couple more right there. Maybe taking a 4th here, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, so huge right there. Not enough SCVs. And you were doing great. You were doing great off the start. Definitely for sure. Building those SCVs. But you got into that mode of, I'm going to end the game right here. And I think you took a break on SCVs. You took a break on your expansion. You took a break on your tech, on your production facilities. And it hurt you. It hurts you a lot. Right, so goals for you. Number 1, we are going to bring it back straight to SCVs. That's going to be it. I want you to be able to have, at this point in the game, 75 SCVs, something around there. And then, of course, you know, if it's late game and you have a maxed army and a lot of bank, you can start killing SCVs off, and because you have mules, and then you can get a larger army. But you're nowhere near that point yet. And that shouldn't even be something you're concerned about yet at this level. At this level, make more SCVs. And then I want you to, yeah, so that's goal 1. Goal number 2, expand if you're going for this 2 racks. And I would even recommend simply going for a 1 racks fast expand and then drop a bunker down and then just make more barracks, more marines, more stuff. 1 racks FE is a great build. You can use it in literally every matchup. And so it's like, it's just one of those standard builds like, hey, you can use it in every matchup. It gets you a fast CC down. You can plant your CC at like 340, something like that. and then you're just in a much better position right there, because or macro position at least. So then you can go into a longer macro game, and you can start worrying about throwing down more production facilities, which is goal number 3, production facilities. So we aren't even going to throw scouting into your goals right here. I want your first goal to be making SCVs. I want your second goal to be getting this expansion down earlier, whether it's off a 2 racks and planting it immediately, or off a 1 racks FE and getting it even more immediately, because hey, you know, that's 1 racks FE. So don't go for that 2 gate all in and think just, or 2 barracks all in and think without pulling SCVs you're going to win that. You pull 16 SCVs, you have a better shot at winning that base trade. You don't have that shot as high, especially when you get higher up, just off 2 racks if you're going to push right there without SCVs. And then you're behind if you didn't take this expansion, which you didn't. And goal number 3, production facilities, production facilities. We are working off of 4 racks. And once again, this could be a case of, hey, but my money's low. Yeah, your money's low, but that's because you have no SCVs whatsoever. If you had the proper amount of SCVs, you would be soaring in the cash right now. You'd be like, what is going on? You could have like 7, 8 barracks right now, and then like double starport if you wanted. So that's just something to think about. Those are going to be your 3 goals. I want you to write them down. I want you to look at them before every single game and just say like, hey, I'm going to build SCVs. I'm going to get an expansion up fast, whether it's behind a 2 racks or after 1 racks FE, and thirdly, I'm going to build more production facilities, because after those initial 4, you didn't really touch them whatsoever. So that's going to be it for part 1, Creamy Turtle in Plat Tuesdays, and I will be right back for part 2. So that will be the next video coming right up.